When you think back on just your own entrepreneurial journey, I know when we first met, you were going through a very difficult situation. Um, what was the big lesson that you gained through that experience of what you called a business divorce? Because it's something that at the time I had never really thought of. I had never really even had heard of before. Take us back to what you learned, because it's all about perspective, because those watching, those listening, they may have gone through one, they may be going through one, or they might be like me and have never thought about this idea of a business divorce to begin with in the first place.
Anytime you run a business or anytime you have a partner or anytime you work with other people, there's always uncomfortable situations that happen. Some situations are easy to resolve, some aren't. I've been doing this a long time, running my own business for a long time, and the old adage, "You don't know what you don't know," is as true today as it was back then. So anytime you run into different difficult situations, you have to make decisions, and you have to decide. Really, it's no different than deciding what direction do we want to go this year versus the direction we were going last year. Just some of those decisions are more difficult than others, and then others take more time to implement than others. So, if I've done a lot of education through the years. I was fortunate enough to go to college years ago, and I thought that my education was over. And as I tell my boys now, your education's just beginning, because I've learned so much, and I learned a lot through the last few years as I was going through this difficult spot. But it was very similar to when I started my career 25 plus years ago. I didn't know what I was doing. I was didn't know how to run a business, didn't know how to talk to people. So it's just an evolution of learning through decisions that you make, and there are pros and cons to every decision, and taking those nuggets or the things that you learn, and then being able to take those and talk to other people about it, so that A, someone else is learning, B, someone else is learning from the mistakes that you've made, but also the things that you've done well, so that basically anytime you can help, I guess, shorten the time of someone's education in anything that we do, can is beneficial, not only to the person that you're helping, but also it's always been beneficial to me too.
Well, it's all about tuition, and
Yes, it is.
we pay tuition in different ways. And so, for someone who is watching or listening to this conversation, what advice would you give them that if they're facing a tough transition right now in their own business, based upon the education that you've gained, both, like you said, you went to college, but even more so, your learning was just starting once you
Right.
got out and started your business. What perspective can you share with them, someone who is going through a tough time, through a transitional time right now in their own business?
Uh, Believe in yourself. You've gotten to where you are for a reason, and those things don't happen by chance. Most people that are entrepreneurs, at least the ones that I know, they work really hard. Now we're not going to talk about ways to to be better at that, or to have more time or things like that. But people that work really hard to try to get a result and to try to help other people. So first of all, believe in yourself. Second of all, continue to educate yourself. Surround yourself by other people. Now, sometimes those people have been through what you're going through now. Other times, they can just listen. Other times, they can give you a perspective. But at the end of the day, own it. Recognize that the reasons, try to make sure you understand the reasons why this is happening, so you learn from it. And then next, just, sometimes you just got to put your head down and go through it.
I want to give you credit where credit is due here, because you talk about this idea of perspective. And that was one of the things I wrote about in Banking on Change. Perspective
Mm-hmm.
is the sum of context and framing. And when we were in our mastermind, you noticed something in me. And that's once again, why you talked about if you're going through a tough time, if you're going through a tough period within your business, who are you surrounding yourself with? Because one of the things that you saw with me, and you're one of the reasons that we're having this conversation on this podcast. That's why I say I have to give you credit, because you called me out on my own bullshit. You called me out on things that I was not able to see in myself. And I'm so grateful for that. When you're surrounding yourself with people who ask you the tough questions, because you said with the other business that I had, you're like, you just kind of you're just soulless. But when you start talking about this new thing you're wanting to build, this level up business, I was a different person. I didn't see that. You saw that. If you want to keep learning from videos like this one, I recommend you check out this video right here. And if you want to watch the entire podcast conversation, you can click here.